Hey guys, this is Demi here talking about Mercury Retrograde in Sagittarius in 2017. So this is going to start Saturday. Yeah, I believe that's December 2nd, right? And then it's going to end around December 22nd, depending on where you live. This is a quite interesting, very interesting retrograde, and I'm going to get more into why it's so interesting. But I'm just going to give you some general information about Mercury retrogrades and this Mercury retrograde and how it's going to affect you. And then I'll talk about the significance of this retrograde more. So I'm deciding to get a little bit more comfy, because grab a pillow or whatever. Get a little comfy because this is going to be a long talk. Okay, maybe not long, but we're going to be really diving deep into this whole Sagittarius Mercury retrograde, okay? All right, so let's talk about how this is the first installment of fire retrogrades in a while. So these last retrogrades for the past 2-3 years, I think it's more 2.5 maybe, it's been in earth signs. I believe it's been in earth signs since late 2015. And now it's moving over to fire signs late 2017. But before that, maybe 2013, that's when it started being in air signs. So but like 2013, 2015, it was in air signs. 2015 to 2017, it's been earth. And now 2017 to maybe 2019, it's going to be in fire signs. So we're gonna from now until 2019, we're gonna always have Mercury retrogrades in fire signs. So this is kind of like a lesson for us to learn when it comes to fire type energy. So when you think of fire energy in general, this is passion and desires. You know, when you think of a fire sign, you know, they're kind of quick to rile up. They express themselves quite strongly. And self is very important. So for instance, even with Aries energy, you know, there's literally the energy of self, asserting oneself to become, you know, the person that they want to be. Leo energy is about self, but more about ego and building oneself up through fixed ways, right? So while like Aries is more of the initiator, you know, Leo's more of, they have this passion, but it's like fixed. So it's more like, that's why they're represented as the king of the zodiac, or the lion of the zodiac, right? The king of the jungle. And then Sagittarius is about self as well, but it's about expanding one's mind, being lucky, bettering oneself, right? Educating oneself. But you're doing this frivolously as well. So like someone with Sag energy, you know, they are like really good at retaining information, and they're quick to like learn one thing and another thing and another thing. Sagittarius energy folks tend to be a jack of all trades. They like learning about different aspects of life and philosophies and how other people think, other people's cultures. That's why they also represent travel as well. So again, like when it comes to fire signs, it's all about bettering oneself in one way or another, and it depends on the modalities of the signs to figure out how they react to bettering oneself, how they better themselves. You know what I mean? You know, because when it comes to elements, it's more of the temperament. When it comes to modalities, it's the reaction, like how they do it, how they deal with this temperament of passion and desire when it comes to oneself, right? So it being in Sagittarius, right, this time around, we're supposed to reflect more on, you know, how we expand each other's minds to like help learn and better ourselves when it comes to our communication and when it comes to our thought process. You know what I mean? So we might be reflecting on how we learn about things, how we communicate with certain people, kind of like how you reach out to the masses maybe when it comes to communication, how you get the information that you are communicating about, how you synthesize it, realize it, figure it out, and then how you display it and speak it out through communication. You know what I mean? So that's kind of like the mixture of Mercury energy and Sag energy, because Sag energy is actually getting the information. And, you know, but when it comes to Mercury's energy, it's about, you know, synthesizing it, conceptualizing it, and spinning it out, you know, because again, Mercury is thought and communication. So it's very, very important for us to see where this Mercury retrograde is happening in our charts, because it will show where it's going to display in our lives. So say, for instance, this is happening on someone's 7th house, you know, they have to worry about, you know, how they communicate their passions and desires, and how they communicate their knowledge that they receive when it comes to relationships, one-on-one relationships, whether it's romantic or platonic. But say if it's in the 4th house, you have to do the same thing, but when it comes to your home and your house. So definitely check where this Mercury retrograde is happening, and understand the houses too, so you can know what aspect of your life this is going to be applied to the most. Again, like I said before in my other videos, when things are in retrograde, that means it's time for reflection. So do not take any action. I beg of you guys. Taking action during retrogrades, it's just tough, because it's similar to kind of Neptune energy, where you're quite disillusioned. Things seem good, things seem fine, you know, and this is actually a great time where like people come back in your life that's maybe not so good, not really for you like that, you know what I mean? Or just energies in general will come in your life that's like act like it's good, but it's really not. So like kind of be careful when it comes to not only people that come back in your life like exes or friends or whatever, but kind of like opportunities that come during retrogrades too, because it may seem fine then, but as soon as you're out of the retrograde, you're going to see all the issues that kind of build up, and how it's actually not that great of a deal. It's not that deal that you thought it was. Again, since Mercury represents thought process, our thoughts are going to be scrambled. It being in a mutable sign, because Sagittarius is mutable, you know, mutable signs think fast automatically, and they kind of act on stuff haphazardly as well. So we really have to be careful on the decisions that we make during this transit, because we might be making some really fast and dumb decisions, and it will look good at the moment, but it wouldn't be good. Now, I'm not saying Sagittarius is dumb. They're actually known for being the philosophers, because they think so fast and they think so quickly, and they're so open-minded. But the thing is, during a retrograde, you're supposed to not take action, so when because your thought process is a little bit cloudy. So when you're actually going ahead and acting on these things that, you know, you're thinking of these things in a clouded mind state, you know, it's not going to work out in your favor. So again, retrograde is a wonderful time to reflect, and because it's a Mercury retrograde, we have to reflect on communication and thought process and how we handle those things, and definitely see where it is on your chart to see what aspect of your life you need to focus that on. And again, it being in fire signs, you know, it's about ourselves and our passion and our desires, right? Now, the reason why this retrograde is so significant and so important is because this retrograde is actually going to the 29th degree of Sagittarius on Saturday. That's when it's deciding to go back. It's interesting, right? It's going to the 29th degree of Sag, and then it's going to go backwards, at least in our vision in the earth. Now that is quite significant, for it to go to the edge of a sign, then go backwards. And it's going to go backwards all the way to 13 degrees up into December 22nd, and then it's going to start going forward again. So that's more proof to me that we really need to focus on this Sagittarius and Mercury energy. We need to kind of focus more on how we expand our mind and learn more about how we take in knowledge and conceptualize knowledge and process information. And then we need to focus on as well how we communicate this information that we're taking in. Now, I think that we need this Sagittarius energy more than ever is because we had a very, very, very intense Scorpio energy this past month. We still have things in Scorpio now. We have, you know, all the time there's a situations where like there's a whole bunch of planets in one sign, right? So this was the case for Scorpio. That happens often. Especially with the inner planets. So there'll be instances where Sun, Mercury, Mars, and Venus are all in, you know, in one sign. So that happened. It was all in Scorpio. But the thing is that was so special about this time is that Jupiter was also in Scorpio. Jupiter is not only a big planet, but Jupiter is the planet of expansion. So Scorpio energy multiplied by thousands, right? And so a lot of people been feeling like this intense energy and it's been super emotional. You know, I've personally experienced like a lot of deaths, not personal deaths, but deaths of like of friends or people that I love, their family and their friends, you know what I mean? So like, you know, Scorpio is the sign of death. So it represents the 8th house, which is also the sign, the house of death. So, you know, every type of Scorpio energy was just multiplied. There was like a lot of deaths. There was a lot of intimacy in sex. There was a lot of introspective thinking. There's just a lot of secrecies, a lot of secrets coming out, especially looking how Hollywood was going through during this time and how, you know, finally these brave people came out and said, yeah, I am being abused. And people actually listened because there were people that were all coming out before, but now people are really listening, and they're listening now because of all this Scorpio energy all hitting us at once, right? Jupiter Scorpio is releasing all this information because, you know, Jupiter is kind of a dharma planet. It gives good things, so people are finally getting their justice, you know what I mean? So this Scorpio season was a lot. It was very intense. I noticed a lot of people were just like, I can't wait until it's Sag season because they just wanted to feel lighthearted again. So we had this deep fixed emotional energy because Scorpio is a fixed water sign. This deep fixed emotional energy, right? Intense. And now when we go back into Sag season, Sag is again known as the philosopher, the thinker. They you know, flexible thinker, so they think of different philosophies and different theories, right? And they really know how to just take information, synthesize and understand it and conceptualize things. So what we're doing with all of that emotional fixed energy in Scorpio season, in Sag season, we're synthesizing it, you know, conceptualizing it, understanding it, and, you know, trying to basically understand why, how, where, when we felt this information. It's trying to really understand the emotions that we basically were getting and receiving in Scorpio season. Now, because the actual Scorpio season was so intensified, not just because all those inner planets was in Scorpio, but also Jupiter was in Scorpio, Sag and Mercury is coming back. You know what I mean? It's retrograding. It's going to the last degree of Sag and coming back because, again, Mercury is the sign of logical thinking, of conceptualizing, of communication. So I feel like universe is like, no, we need more Sag energy. We need to still synthesize and understand these emotions and this intense energy that we felt in Scorpio, right? So it's kind of like, okay, Sag is about to leave and go into Capricorn. No, let's bring it back to understand our emotions more and you know what was happening in Scorpio season, because, you know, Scorpio season was so intense. We still have planets in Scorpio now. We need to just understand this emotions and feelings. Once, you know, we're out of Sag, you know, in Sag season, we need to not only conceptualize and understand stuff, we need to also get in the beginning processes of planning what we're going to do. So when we go into Capricorn season, right? Capricorn season, we're going to finally try to do some initiative, because Capricorn is a cardinal earth. So it is logical and practical, right? But it is taking an initiative, is going forward with this practicality and going forward with the concepts that it received from Sag, and Sag received them concepts from the emotions that we felt from Scorpio. So you see how it all flows together? This is why I think it was really important for us to actually have this retrograde. It's very important for us to, you know, understand and conceptualize our passions, not only the passions of, you know, the fire sign, the fire element of Sagittarius, but kind of bringing that like logical thinking to all the emotions that we felt in Scorpio season. You know what I mean? So I think this is like a important reason why Mercury in Sag is so important this season around, you know? It's something to think about. I think that you guys should not only just focus on the typical, okay, Mercury's in Sag, so that means we need to understand communication and thinking when it comes to our passion, desires, and expanding our mind. You kind of have to expand your mind, though, on the things that you felt and all the energy that you felt in Scorpio season. You know, it's the reason why it came back that way. That's weird. Another thing that I'm noticing too is that, you know, it is starting to retrograde at 29th degree. 9 plus 2 is 11. 1 plus 1 equals 2. And then it's going back to direct when it's in Sag in the 13th degree. I mean, 13th degree, excuse me. 1 plus 3 is 4. So that's kind of some significance there too. I don't know exactly what. If someone's into numerology, feel free to comment below and see what you think. Let me hear what you think about that. But it's interesting things, man. It's just very interesting. There's definitely something going on in the other dimensions that we're not aware of. I don't know if you guys are really into that type of stuff, but I am. And I'm not being closed-minded about this, because why the 29th degree? You know? I feel like there's definitely some truth into what I was channeling earlier. But that's what I have to say about this Mercury and Sag. Please comment, like, subscribe, share, care, and all that good stuff. If you disagree, feel free to comment too, but don't be disrespectful. I don't tolerate that shit. I really don't. So just don't do it. And yeah, let me hear your thoughts, y'all. Okay? I love you. Mwah. I'll see you later, guys.